ActionSA has taken the rather unusual step of asking the public to help choose their coalition partners. Is this a new approach to strengthening our democracy? Well, the party led by Herman Mashaba finished as the 6th most popular party nationwide, despite only contesting in 6 municipalities. ActionSA will now get to play the role of kingmaker in metros like Johannesburg and Tshwane after they ate into the votes usually reserved for the ANC and the DA. Joining us now to discuss this is National Chairperson of ActionSA, Michael Beaumont. Very good morning to you. Welcome. Congratulations. I mean, it must feel really good to be dubbed a kingmaker.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. It does feel good. But I think we are humble enough to recognize that the achievement lies with the South African people who have looked at the old politics and decided they wanted something new. And we want to continue nurturing that relationship and building the first truly non-racial support base of a political party in South Africa, which I think is where the real achievement lies.
As we speak about, some achievements and, assisting communities to really get to where they need to get to, you and your leader, Herman Mashaba, have spoken about how there are some options that are completely off the table when it comes to these high-level coalition talks that are taking place. He mentioned that one member of the ANC top 6 approached him to, perhaps speak about the horse trading. And his response was that it's not going to happen, not even in the next 300 years.
Yeah, I was actually there, and the response was, "Don't call me, I'll call you."
Yeah.
Which was rather entertaining to watch.
And so what does this speak to when it comes to your position as ActionSA and really serving the people?
Sure. I think it's a matter of principle, and I think it's very important that when you go into coalitions, you've got to have principles that are immovable, that are non-negotiable, because if everything is negotiable, then you aren't operating off values and principles and things that should be set in stone. It's just about getting into power at all costs. And I think from our position in ActionSA, the ANC has been ruled out from day one, and even before Election Day, we've been very clear with our electorate in that regard, because you cannot fix the problem by partnering with the problem. And if you accept that the ANC is the problem in South Africa, which even ANC voters have demonstrated by their stay away in this election, how do you go into coalition to try and address the problems that arise from ANC governance? Talking practically important, because local government's a very practical space. It's not ideological. We have committed to fight corruption. It is a value that we will never move an inch from. But how do you go into coalition with the ANC and fight corruption when you're investigating ANC representatives and individuals who have committed those acts of wrongdoing? It can't work.
So as these backdoor conversations take place, the bargaining, who are you in conversation with as we speak?
Well, I mean, I think so far the DA has reached out to us, and some of the smaller parties have reached out. But at this stage, I'm going to disappoint you to say it's all very informal and very little information or detail. I think most political parties are busy trying to receive their mandates from their leadership structures, and really it's more talks about talks and opening up lines of communication than anything more real. I think from our side, what we're really doing is focusing on what we would like to bring to the table in a coalition agreement, because we want to come to those discussions with ActionSA's position very well established, and that's our focus right now.
And as observers have been looking into these processes and analysts, they've spoken about how parties should go into these talks with some right motives to prevent these unstable councils that we've seen, right? And that is an important factor when it comes to who you partner with and how you benefit people on the ground.
It is, but I think one of the most important things that we've got to get right, and Paul, because we've had 5 years to look at coalition government in South Africa, which is relatively new to us. We're a young democracy. Voters and political parties and members of the media, we're all getting to grips with these things. And I think from our side, the lesson that we have to learn is that coalitions need to be structured around service delivery agendas and priorities, rather than you get this position and I get that position. Because positions, just become about personal benefit. But if we're going there and saying we will only enter a coalition with a political party that will do A, B, and C for a metro police to ensure we can improve the safety of the residents of our municipalities, those are the kind of principles that we should be bringing to a coalition negotiation.
You have essentially put some decisions to the public to decide who you should be going into coalitions with, and it'll be quite interesting. I mean, I don't know how much of the outcome you've received so far in terms of numbers, but what would happen in an instance where the suggestion, overwhelming suggestion, is that you go in partnership with the ANC. What then?
So, I mean, just to contextualize it, I mean, what we've done is the first of its kind, and we're very proud of it. So we've put it out to people in South Africa, and, you know, not even just people who voted for us, anyone, to say, what kind of principles should ActionSA go into this coalition to achieve? What is the idea around whether we should go into coalition or not? And what political parties would you be willing to have us cooperate with? Because it's always important to remember those votes were given to us by people. They're not our votes. We can't do with them what they please. And that kind of humility is important. But from our side, you know, we aren't concerned whatsoever about the prospects of the people who have been involved with ActionSA all this time turning around to us and saying, no, you must go into coalition with the ANC. I mean, you must remember, Paul, that we are a creature that was born out of the people's dialogue. 2.4 million people engaged us in that process and said, we need a political party that's going to remove the ANC. The prospect of people turning around saying, no, you must go into coalition with the ANC now, it's science fiction for me.
And in that poll, you put the ANC as an outright no, but still putting it as an option, but it's an outright no.
Yeah, it is. It is an outright no, and we maintain it's a matter of principle. ActionSA has been set up by all those people who participated in our formation to say we need a party that's going to remove the ANC. You can't then go and govern with the ANC because then you don't have any principles, and we are a principled organization.
And what about the notion that you can't all be winners when it comes to a coalition agreement? It's a give-and-take situation where there needs to be some level of compromise.
Yeah.
What aspect will focus on your level of compromise as ActionSA?
You know, I think it's obviously important to say that the Senate, which is our highest decision-making body, will be meeting tomorrow evening to discuss some of these things. So I'm forced just to share my personal view on that question right now. But I think the answer lies there potentially in municipality by municipality discussions where, you know, an arrangement is provided that strengthens someone in one municipality and another party in another. So that what we really are focusing on stable governments, because I think the residents of these municipalities have had to endure a lot over the last 5 years, where governments have fallen apart, motions of no confidence, constantly beckoning, council meetings collapsing, budgets not getting approved on time. It's really got to be about what provides the greatest stability and service to the residents of those municipalities. And personally, I think that kind of arrangement may do that.
And when it comes to your top 5 priority list, where are you looking to deal with when it comes to addressing people's problems?
You talk in terms of our service delivery agenda. It's absolutely got to be about infrastructure. In the city of Johannesburg and all the other municipalities we've contested, infrastructure is falling apart. So we need to take services to places where people have never had them before. We need to ensure that people who do have those services have a greater reliability of service than they've ever had before. And we need to make sure that the day-to-day functions of those municipalities that voters experience, and people experience, that frontline service delivery is responsive to people. People need to be treated as customers in municipalities and given that kind of treatment where if they pick up the phone and they've got an issue, someone answers it, they deal with them professionally, etc. We've got to deal with the massive social inequalities that exist in our cities. We can't continue to live in municipalities that have 2 cities. And we can do that while being pro-poor and pro-business. We fundamentally believe that. But we do need to make sure that people who don't have quality services and have never enjoyed those services start to benefit from them. And then I think things like metro policing has got to be a huge priority. You know, we live in a society where, if we are frank, the SAPs have failed us. And we need to look at metro polices to see how we can actually do more to improve the quality of safety in those municipalities.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time. We're going to have to leave it there with the National Chairperson of ActionSA, Michael Beaumont, speaking to some of the priorities of ActionSA, as well as some no-go areas when it comes to coalition talks. Still to come, we